Hello, everyone. This is Emily with Gem Science, and today I have with me Linsey Rainwater. Linsey is an advisor, a writer, a founder, and a speaker. Most specifically, she is the founder and CEO of the Women in Fitness Association, which supports the professional development for females in the fitness industry. She is also an advisor on business strategy, systems management, personal brand advising, and executive coaching. And she is an author, podcaster, and keynote speaker. Linsey, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Emily.
Absolutely. We're very excited to have you. So just to start, can you tell me a little bit more about who you are and who you work with?
Absolutely. Well, who am I? Well, I'm a woman that lives in Denver, Colorado, and I have a young son and a lovely husband and a really sweet Labrador. And in my free time, I like to help health clubs and fitness industry professionals grow their reach and help more and more people via fitness. And so whether that's health clubs trying to find the best way to reach their people, both internal or external, or a equipment manufacturer or education provider or a company in our industry trying to help clubs, I really like to come at it from a lot of angles. And then I'm also the founder and CEO of the Women in Fitness Association, which is currently the only global provider of career development for women in the fitness industry and helping women connect the dots between their career aspirations, potential, and then, things realized.
That's amazing. Awesome, Linsey. So when speaking specifically about the work that you do with helping gym owners to grow and systemize, what are some of the common issues that you see with people when they're coming to you? They're maybe stuck, they're trying to get to the next level. What do you typically see?
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on what kind of health club we're talking about, what the focus is, where it is, if it's part of a large chain, if it's a standalone one-off. There are so many perplexing, common issues, everything from what kind of program are you going to offer in your group exercise space, and does that present issues around subbing if you're only offering freestyle programming versus are you offering a national program or international program that has more trained individuals, but then has its own set of, items that come with that, whether it's a licensing fee or marketing, etc. So I think it really depends on, ultimately what style of club it is and what the goals are. But I think at the heart center of it, I think everyone that's in the fitness industry, specifically in the club world, their motivation is to see people get healthy and to seek prevention from a healthcare standpoint because they move their bodies daily. And so reaching more people through health and fitness. And how do you do that? How are you marketing your facility? What kinds of activities are bringing people in? And so if you're a big box club that has, your four walls and you've got your Group X program and your PT program and you're more of a traditional URSA style club, I think one of the toughest things is the pressure that we're seeing from all the different styles of ways people can work out now. People can download an app on their phone and work out on their living room if they're motivated to do so, or they can go join a cycling boutique at $150 a month and have a, really elevated experience in that respect. So it's so unique what different clubs struggle with depending on where they are, what their primary audience is they're serving, and really what their focus is.
Totally. So if you were to be just starting to work with a club, what's kind of the strategy for you to determine like these are our highest lever things that we can focus on for you?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, as business owners, there are so many different things pulling for our time, energy, and attention. How do you figure out like this should be my top level focus or priority right now at the moment?
Yeah. Well, typically I'll sit down with the owner operator, whoever it is that's got the steering wheel at that moment, and really look at why does this club exist? What's the mission and the guiding principles of this organization? And what is the purpose of being here? Because I think if it cannot be circled back or pointed back to whatever that company has identified as their North Star, really what's the point of having the conversation? And whether it's systems management, a new technology platform, a hiring initiative, a fitness programming, consolidation, whatever it is that club is thinking they need to do, sitting down and making sure that the purpose for the club's existence is crystal clear to everybody that works there, and starting there. I've worked with clubs and companies before that they don't really know why they exist.
Yes.
They had a successful something and it propelled them to wherever they are, but they don't have a clear compass. And so getting to, I think even people, like individuals, if you're a personal trainer and you're trying to run your own business inside a club, get clear on why you exist and then start to create your plan.
Linsey, that's so true. And I think it's not even just taking the time to figure it out once, but to be sure that that is something that you're revisiting on a frequent basis.
Yes.
Obviously, it will grow and evolve slightly with your business. And I know that I have seen in my own business varying levels of success. You can tie it to how connected you are to the vision, the mission at the current point in time, and also how good of a job you're doing of disseminating that vision and mission to your team, right?
Absolutely.
Do you have any strategies or resources or anything for someone who wants to get a little bit more clear on what their vision or their mission is as a starting point?
I do. I've done intensives with quite a few companies where we really sit down with the key leadership team and we look at what the current frequency, not frequency, but the current landscape of what that is. Really look at the current mission statement, the current values, or however that company has set it up, and pick it apart and see if it's actually really what is happening, and is it ultimately what they want to see, or is it not aligning with what they really want. And then I feel fortunate enough that I got to train with master facilitators, Gay and Katie Hendricks, around their work in conscious leadership. And I have some really fun tools about evaluating what are you genius at and what are you subpar at and what are you consistently doing that you should not be doing, but you think you're supposed to. Because there's a lot of have-tos wrapped up into that kind of work when you start to unpack it and realize that you're doing things you think you're supposed to do instead of really doing things because of the literal quality of what you're trying to bring the market through your mission. So I have a full day intensive, and it can be 1 day or 2 days depending on the severity of the situation and how deep we're going. And then a good old fashioned SWOT analysis, like what are we good at? What do we suck at? What do we need to change? Just getting in there and evaluating it.
And can you talk a little bit more for maybe some small business owners who might not be familiar with what a SWOT analysis is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a way, the way that I interpret it is it's an opportunity for you to start to put into buckets your behaviors. Mm-hmm. So what is the output that you're currently generating, and how can you label it? What are your strengths? Like, what are the things that you as an organization are best in class at? Like, you are just rocking. What are the things that you should stop doing that you're currently doing? What are the threats to your business? What are the opportunities to your business? And picking it apart and doing it with someone that's an advisor or a coach, so that you can, it's kind of like cleaning your closet. If you're going to fill your room with a bunch of stuff that's supposed to be in another room, you better have somebody to either help you do it or a strategy to get it back in there, or it's going to be pretty overwhelming.
Yep. Absolutely. And as far as figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses are and where those lie, what are some best practices for that? Would it be like surveying your customer base? Would it be looking at things more internally, a combination of both?
Yeah. Whenever I'm evaluating that kind of thing, I always start with what results are we producing?
Okay.
Both on paper, like what can you quantify, and then what are people saying? So if you were to survey the members, yep, what do they actually say about you instead of what you think they might say? Mm-hmm. And are your metrics made up KPIs, or are they things that you are actually aligning with a strategy?
Okay. Cool. So last question along these lines, how do you determine what what the right metrics are to be tracking? Like, how do you determine whether they're made up or
Yeah,
actual metrics?
I know, right? What a great
The hard
question.
questions.
Yeah, no, these are good questions. They're very important because I think it's also who we surround ourselves with and who our peer group is and how we calculate things and all kinds of things. So to me, the most important metrics are the ones that can be clearly quantified and are not largely swayed by opinion, and that can actually be like number of check-ins per day. Like, and it's an individual key card or fingerprint or something to that effect, and that's a very quantifiable number. There's also really cool tools out there like EcoFit, or I know Matrix has it embedded into their systems, where you can see the number of hours logged per day on a piece of cardio equipment. And if you know that there's literally 12 hours being logged to treadmill 1, 2, and 3, but almost less than 2 hours a day to the other 3 treadmills, maybe that can inform a purchasing decision for the following fiscal year. So, and I think the metrics you have to be careful about are, a good example would be a group fitness instructor doing a head count at the beginning of their class versus a front desk concierge walking the floor and doing a head count once class has started. Not saying you can't trust the group fitness manager, but if you have an unbiased opinion of someone doing a head count, there's less room for variables like personal, bias than if you were having the person leading the class doing the head count.
Yeah, that's awesome. And another thing that I think is so important, especially when we're talking, smaller business owners, boutique business owners, is just that understanding of how important it is to kind of take the emotion out of it and actually really watch the numbers closely. That
Yeah.
can be a learning curve for a lot of small business owners to wrap their head around that.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Awesome, Linsey. So if there is one tip that you could give small business owners or boutique fitness owners as far as starting to create some clarity around vision, mission, running their business by the numbers, if you were to leave them with one thing, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a big question, Emily.
I know.
That's a big one. Well, so I'm going to take it back to kind of one of my number one beliefs when it comes to leadership or being in management. And it's that the individual that's at the helm. So if it's the club operator, the general manager, the CEO, the owner, whoever that person is, that they are vigilant about their own personal development and inquiry around their own leadership and their purpose. Because I think that you can really only give people what you've already got, and you're going to give them what you got no matter what. So make sure it's good. So if you are the type of leader that's waiting for somebody else to generate your feel goods, you're screwed. But if you're out there every day generating your own momentum, and you are waking up every day with purpose and you know why you exist, then it becomes a lot easier to generate that compass for your company. But if you're lost as an individual, it gets really hard to actually figure out how to reach your people. So I always say, no matter what the company is, what the business structure is, as a leader, you've got to start with yourself so you have something to give.
Oh, so good. So good. I think you did a pretty good job of distilling that down into a very, very sage piece of advice. So thank you. And then as far as finding more about you, are there any resources that you have that you could point people to if they're interested in learning a little bit more about working with you?
Yeah, for sure. So if you look at my website is lindseyrainh2o.com. So it's a play on words of my last name. So my last name is Rainwater. So H2O, not 0.com. If you Google Linsey Rainwater, you can usually find it fairly quickly. But my website houses the different ways that I can collaborate with you as either a business owner or an individual. It also talks a little bit about the speaking engagements and writing that I also do. And there's also a link out to the Women in Fitness Association as well. I also offer leadership coaching for women as well. So all those things are on my website. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, almost on every one of those platforms. It's at Linsey Rain H2O.
Okay, excellent. Wonderful. Any last parting words of wisdom, Linsey?
I think I covered it with starting with yourself.
I think you did. I get that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and make it a great day.
Thanks, Emily.
All right. Bye-bye.